Deirdre, and I'm going to be going through a slow yoga practice with you today. Something where we're getting a little bit deeper into some stretching, some holding of those stretches. We are going to still build up a little bit of heat, but I thought that given where I am, in the climate I am here in Canada, we have plus 10 1 minute and minus 20 degrees Celsius the next. And I'm finding it's very tiring on our system. A lot of people are dealing with a lot of colds and flus. So it's still important to keep moving the body. So instead of really engaging with a lot of heat, we're going to slow it way down, really connect with our breath and connect back to our body. So I hope that you're going to enjoy this yoga practice with me. So get your mat. If you do have a couple of blocks, that's great. And even if you have a blanket nearby, that can also be helpful. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to start our yoga practice just sitting on our knees. So just sitting back onto your heels with the back nice and tall. So this is one of those times where perhaps blocks or blankets can really come in handy. If you do have one of these great yoga blocks, which are only about $6, you can usually buy them at your local hardware store, Winners, Walmart, that kind of thing. You can place it underneath the sit bones. That'll lift you a little bit higher up off of your knees. You can place a blanket under the knees if that feels better, or sometimes even placing the blanket between the knees and the calves will help you here. Once you find something that's comfortable for you, try to really lengthen through the spine and allow the shoulders to start to sink away from your ears. And then take a nice deep breath in and then slowly let it out. And as you exhale, feel your sit bones start to sink a little deeper into the block or in towards your heels. Try to release any of the muscles around the face or the furrows in the brows. And really find yourself coming into this time in this place. Try to lengthen the spine. And really start to feel the calm. We're just going to hold this here for a couple more breaths to really allow ourselves to settle into this time and place, especially when we have really busy lives. It's so hard to stop for a moment, as we always feel like there's something that we need to be doing. So instead of chasing after, take this time to really slow it down and be here with yourself. After one more nice deep breath in and slowly letting it out, I want you to softly flutter open the eyes. And then rocking forward a little bit, we're going to tuck the toes underneath to get a little bit more of a stretch in through the bottom of the feet. So this is where a second block can often come in handy. So depending on the flexibility in your feet, for me, I actually find this an extremely challenging stretch for myself because I have a lot of tension in the bottom of my feet. The second block that's underneath your sit bones, you can raise it up to the higher height and still place it underneath the sit bones if that kind of helps to alleviate. If your feet are very flexible, you may not even need that second block. And then just have the other block here so that if you need to kind of alleviate some of that stretch, you can rock it forward slightly. But try to sit back and again really lengthen through the spine and feel that straightness through each of the vertebrae, all the way from the tailbone right up to the crown of the head. Taking again a nice deep breath in and slowly letting it out. perhaps imagining that your spine is like a straw. And as you are inhaling, you feel the breath travel all the way down the spine, right down to the sit bones. And as you exhale, you feel the breath start to slowly travel back up the spine and out through the heart space. Traveling on the inhales down the spine, and on the exhales back up the spine. If this is starting to feel a little bit like too much of a stretch, perhaps coming forward a little bit, trying to hold it here, not back off right away. Notice what's coming up in your mind right now. Are you feeling a little bit of anxiety? A little bit like you just need to get out of the stretch? Take a moment to breathe. Life is so much of ups and downs, and they all come with the package. They are not good or bad, they just are. And learning to breathe through those times of stress will really help you to navigate it a little bit better. Just holding this for one more nice deep breath. And then slowly let it out. And then just let's come off of the blocks. Take this movement nice and slow. Remove the blocks just off to the mat, off the side of the mat, and then tuck the toes underneath. Again, slow movements. Just allow those feet to stretch back out. And let's find ourselves in a tabletop position. We'll place the hands underneath the shoulders and our knees underneath our hips. And we're going to come into some cat and cow. On the inhale, drop the belly and lift the heart space. And then as you exhale, round through the spine, really try to start from the tailbone and articulate each vertebrae all the way up to the crown of the head. Then inhaling to drop back into your cow. Exhale into cat. Press through the hands, allow the head to fall. Inhale. And exhale. Start to notice what's happening in the back of the body, especially during our cat. Where are you feeling some extra tension? Is it in the low back? Is it up to the shoulders? And as you inhale into your cow, are you feeling it in the belly? Just reconnecting with your body. Finishing off with one more cat stretch here. Really press through the hands. And then find your way back into a nice neutral position. We're going to tuck the toes underneath. Actually, I'm going to place my hands a little forward. We're going to come into a plank position. We're going to start to build up a little bit more heat through the body. So start to stretch out through one leg, tucking the toes under and pulling the heel back towards the back of the room. And then start to allow the other leg to reach back as well. Now, if you're new to plank, I would like you to hold this for as long as you can, dropping the knees down to the mat when you feel that you need a little break. And then draw the knees back up again. Try to hold it again for as long as you can. Really drawing the belly button into the spine. Lifting the knees and drawing the heels back. Take a deep breath in and out. Inhale here. And this time as you exhale, start to lift and draw the hips and thighs. And we're going to reach back into our first downward dog. Let's pedal through heels. Really, again, slowly dropping one heel towards the mat and then the other. Start to press a little more through the hands. And then let's find some stillness here, dropping both of the heels towards the mat. And as we get a little deeper into this downward dog, let's start to lengthen the spine a little more and then allow the head to really fall. This is a challenge here as we hold so much tension in the back of our necks. So trying not to keep holding the head up. The head's heavy. It's probably one of the heaviest bones in our body. So allow it to fall. And it actually gets to be a nice stretch to the back of the neck. And if you find that it's challenging to let go, those muscles nodding yes and shaking a no, and then let it go. Shifting back a little deeper into the heels. Let's take one more nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, look forward and let's step up to the top of the mat. We're going to bring the big toes to touch and then relax into our forward fold. On your next inhale, coming up halfway. Again, this is a challenge here. I want you to really lengthen through the spine. So drawing the shoulders back and away from the ears. You can still keep a little bend in the knees and lifting the head just so that you're looking right down at the top of the mat. And then exhale back into your forward fold. Your forward folds, we're going to start to come all the way up to standing. So reach the arms out to the side. Bring the palms to touch, stretch here through the side body. And exhale, hands come into heart center. Inhale again to reach the arms all the way up to the ceiling. And then exhale back to your forward fold. Inhale again, lengthen the spine. Roll the shoulders, draw them down and back into the back pockets, and exhale into your forward fold. Let's plant the hands. We're going to step back again into our plank position. Hold the plank, take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, either dropping the knees onto the mat or keeping them lifted, slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Then as you untuck your toes, inhale to come into a little cobra. Exhale, release it back down, tuck the toes. Will you come up through hands and knees and then drop back into downward facing dog. Take a nice deep breath in. And out, settling a little deeper into that downward dog. Inhale here. And exhale, look forward, step up to the top of the mat. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold. Inhale, let's reach all the way up. Let's get a little back bend here as we bring the palms to touch. And then exhale back into our forward fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to your plank. Take a nice deep breath in. This time, if you like, only lower halfway down. Untuck the toes and inhale to upward dog. But if this is too intense, coming into cobra is perfectly fine. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here. And exhale. On the next inhale, let's lift the right leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, slowly draw that knee in. Place it as high up on the mat as you can comfortably. And try to lengthen through the spine here. If you do have blocks at your disposal, bring them to either side of the front foot. And then lengthen here through the spine and start to allow the hips to drop a little deeper down towards the mat. Just allowing for a little more stretch here. And then dropping the back knee, really lengthen through the spine. If you would like to take your blocks up and to the highest height in doing that. Try to allow the hips to sink a little deeper. Really focusing on the breath and on the stretch. And then on your next exhale, let's slowly shift back into a hamstring stretch. I'm going to start to flex the front foot. Really reach the tailbone back towards the back of the room. And I've untucked my back toes, but if it feels better to you to keep them tucked under, then that's fine as well. Perhaps placing a blanket underneath the back knee, or even folding your mat over to allow for a little more cushioning there. And then holding it here, focusing on the breath. Reconnecting again with that image of your spine as a straw. Inhaling and drawing the breath down the spine. And exhaling, letting it travel back up and out through the heart. And then we're going to start to come into a little bit more movement here. And starting to really flow with our own breath. On your inhale, coming forward into your lunge position. And then as you exhale, shifting back into your hamstring stretch. Inhale to come forward. And exhale to shift it back. If my breath is too slow or too fast, I encourage you to follow your own breath. Not worrying about what I'm doing. Listen to what's right for you. Let's do that one more time, coming forward again into our lunge. And then exhaling back into our hamstring stretch, and then let's hold it here again for a couple of breaths. Maybe we're able to sink a little deeper. The hamstrings perhaps have loosened a little bit. And then inhale to come forward again into your lunge. If you have your blocks, just placing them off to the side, plant the hands, tuck the toes underneath on the back foot, and lift the back knee. We're going to slowly shift our way back into our downward facing dog. Allow the head to fall, reconnecting here with our downward dog. Lengthen through the spine. Taking one more nice deep breath in and out. And on your next inhale, lifting the left leg and then slowly drawing it forward, placing it between the hands. Allow yourself to settle into this little lunge for a moment. Again, using blocks. If you need to, allow the hips to drop and the back to lengthen. And then slowly dropping the back knee and allowing the hips to drift forward a little more. Lengthen the spine and keep that length all the way up to the crown of the head. So not tilting the chin up or down, just really feeling that long neutral spine. And that spine does travel all the way up to the base of our skull. So being conscientious of the muscles in the back of the neck. One more nice deep breath in, and then as you exhale, starting to shift back into your hamstring stretch. I'll just move these blocks so you can see me a little better here. Lengthen the spine, draw the toes up to the ceiling. Again, if it's comfortable, close down your eyes. Really become one with your body. We spend so much time chasing our thoughts and doing, that we forget that this vessel that carries us through all of these things that we do needs a lot of care as well. This is why you're here. This is why you stepped onto your mat today. And let's honor that. On your next inhale, let's flow forward into your low lunge. And exhale back into your hamstring. And again, we'll flow through these moves a few times here. Follow your breath. Notice anything that's coming up here. And this next hamstring stretch, let's hold it here for a few breaths again, just to allow those hamstrings to release a little more. This is a beautiful stretch, especially if you have low back pain. A lot of times our hamstring muscles might be a little tight. And I know that seems a little odd, but they do pull on the muscles that connect to the low back. Releasing them can help. Inhale forward, back into your low lunge. Tucking the toes under if they're not already, lifting the back knee, and shifting our way back into downward facing dog. Lengthening through the spine. Let the head fall. Now that our legs are a little looser, let's lift the heels, really draw the hips back, get a beautiful stretch through the top of the hamstrings, and then start to lower the heels down. One more nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, release the knees to the mat and make your way into a tabletop position, just removing the blocks out of the way. Then on your next inhale, starting on the right side, let's inhale to reach the arm up to the ceiling. And then exhale to thread it through. Let's do that again. Inhale, reach it up, get that beautiful stretch through the shoulders. And exhale, reach it through. One more time, inhale. And exhale, reach it through, and then allow the shoulder to sink down, and your side of your face can drop onto the mat. Then from here, try not to flash you too much here. Your left hand is underneath the shoulder. If you would like to take this a little deeper, I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see a little better what I'm doing. You can lift your left arm up towards the ceiling and start to open the heart space. And if you like, you can start to maybe place this hand on the sacrum and then start to draw your left shoulder back as you press the right hand into the mat. And again, connect with the breath. Slow it all down. One of the hardest things to do is to stay in a pose without chasing the next one. Inhale to reach the left arm back up. If you have placed it on the sacrum, place it back underneath your shoulder, pressing into the left hand. Inhale, reach the right arm up to the ceiling. Exhale, place it back underneath the shoulders. Coming to the other side. Inhale to reach the left arm up. Exhale, thread through. And inhale, reach all the way back up. And exhale to thread it through. One more time. Inhale to come up. And exhale to bring it through and let the cheek come down to the floor. If you like, reaching the right arm up and then maybe placing it on the sacrum. Opening through the shoulders. Breathe. Connecting the breath and the spine. Try to quiet all of those little voices in your head. And really fall in love with what you're doing here and what your body is able to do. No matter what your fitness level is, our bodies are amazing things. They really do so much for us. So thanking it. And inhale, reach the right arm back up. Exhale to place the hand back under the shoulder. Press into the right hand as we reach the left arm up. Exhale, place it back underneath the shoulder. I'm just going to turn back to the side here. We're going to come into our child's pose. So just taking the knees wide on the mat, start to shift your hips down. And then allow the forehead to find a connection. So if coming all the way down is a little uncomfortable for you, placing your block perhaps underneath the forehead is good. You can use any height here of the block. And again, if the knees are really uncomfortable, placing the blanket again between the knees and your calves to help. But we really want to allow the hips to start to sink back. And opening the legs allows a little more space for our belly. Now my hands are reaching forward here, but you may want to allow the hands to come around and hold on to the ankles and just allow them to release. But it's so important to find that connection for the forehead. No matter how high up it is, as our forehead is our crown chakra. Just connecting with our inner voice and really starting to hear what we need, what's important to us. Quieting down all of those voices, sometimes important to actually hear what they're saying. And as you breathe, really start to focus on breathing into the back of the body. As you inhale, the ribs lift and expand, and as you exhale, they release. And we forget so often about the back of our body as we're always going forward, taking this time to focus on our back. Then bringing the hands back under the shoulders to carefully make your way back up. Coming back into table, we're going to shift to one side and take it all the way down onto our back. So bringing the legs forward, Start to tuck the tailbone under and carefully roll your way all the way down onto your back, and then tuck the shoulders underneath. Let's bring the heels in really close to the glutes. So we've, excuse me, done so much stretching through the back of the body. Let's take a moment to get a little stretch through the front here again. So the heels should be close enough in that you can touch with your fingers, pressing the hands into the mat and tucking the shoulders underneath so that we really open through the heart space. On your next inhale, lift the hips up off the mat any amount that's comfortable. Try to keep drawing the knees in towards one another. They don't actually have to touch, but we don't want them just flailing out towards the sides, so that we're really containing through the hips. And then we're going to start to lift the heart space up towards the chin. Maybe we can tuck the shoulders underneath us a little more, shimmying side to side. And then again, perhaps closing down the eyes. Inhale. And exhale. One more beautiful deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly release the back and the hips onto your mat. Then draw the knees into your belly, give them a little squeeze. Then reach the legs up towards the ceiling. Let's grab onto the big toes. So taking the two fingers and you're gonna wrap them around the toe and then clasp it with your thumb. And then allow the knees to open to the sides. So our elbows are coming to the insides of our knees, and then just rock it gently side to side. And maybe holding it if that feels good, or continue to rock. Then releasing this, we're going to set up for our final relaxation. So perhaps you would like your legs extended on the mat and the arms out to the sides. This may not be comfortable for the low back, so you can keep the knees bent. Take the feet wide on the mat and then allow the knees to drop towards one another. Let's take the palms and turn them up towards the ceiling and close down our eyes. Take a moment to take a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, allow anything that you're still holding on to release a little more. Let go of any muscles that you're still holding on to around the eyes and in the jaw. The tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. Let the shoulders sink down a little deeper. And then feel free to hold this for as long as you need to. This is really the whole goal of our yoga practice, is to come into this quiet, this full relaxation. We spend the time getting some of those antsy bits out so that we can fully relax. And if you want to stay here, just pause this video and stay here for as long as you like. If you're ready to come out of it softly, bringing some small movements into the fingers, into the toes, rotating the wrists and ankles. And draw the knees into your chest, give them a little squeeze in. And then slowly rolling to one side, and then carefully making your way up into seated. finding yourself in a simple cross-legged position. And place the hands together in prayer position and slightly bowing the head. I just want to thank you for joining me today with this yoga practice and sharing with like-minded people. The light in me honors the light in you.